Let's talk about neutralizing negativity. That's the topic for this Authentically Clear, where we talk about awareness, conscious living, and authentic power. And I want you to stay in your power, so I thought this would be a really good topic because I want to start by asking you, do you neutralize negativity, or do you take it on and let it drain your energy? Do you actually look for things to be negative? And if you do, I just want you to know that that is perfectly reasonable. Given the way that we're conditioned in our culture, the way we're subjugated, and that's why we want to bring awareness to our lives, to these situations, because we're subjugated in a way where we tend to go around feeling very disempowered and looking for the negative, especially nowadays with all the fear-based marketing and news and all the negativity that's just constantly thrown at us because they've realized that fearful things catch our attention. So there's just so much negativity to where now we're almost on autopilot trying to look for it. But it's so taxing and so draining on us mentally, on our body, and spiritually. I want to try to offer you a different perspective on negativity and how you view it. Because at the end of the day, it's about self-mastery, right? There is no master out there. It's about self. You are your self-master. So you have the power to control your yes and your no. You don't have to feel disempowered to just bow down and take on other people's negativity and situations, if they're verbally attacking you, if bad things are happening in your life. At the end of the day, what it really comes down to is choice on how we process these things. There's a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt that says, "No one can make you feel inferior without your permission." And I think that equates to this because we always think that we just automatically have to react. And to react, that means you have to take this energy on. So then you react to it. And the reality is you have the power to control your yes and your no in any situation. So you can say yes to it, take it on, and then feel this need to react. We tend to react negatively or back or start to feel crappy ourselves. Our energy is drained, and that could last the rest of the day or the rest of the week, depending on how bad we've decided the situation is. Or you can say no to it and process it and see it in a completely different light. I think one thing that helps us understand this is a lot of times we make assumptions in a situation and we personalize it and we make it about us. One of my beautiful teachers, Don Miguel Ruiz, wrote a book, The Four Agreements, and if you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. And two of those agreements are not to make assumptions and not to take anything personally. And very often when we're having negative conversations with people where either the negativity is being directed at us or shared with us, we can tend to, one, of course, take it personally because that's how we're conditioned to take it. And we're also conditioned to make assumptions because when our mind is not our ally, it's trying to protect us. So it's looking out for negative situations, negative energies, and things that'll possibly hurt us. And when we keep those things in mind, that negativity coming towards us is based on someone else's story. It's their experience that they're having in the world, their perspective. They've got background stories and experiences running that's causing empowering that negative moment that they're having. That's theirs. And we don't have to say yes to it. We don't have to take it personally and make it about us. We don't have to make assumptions about what it means and turn it into more negativity. We can simply process it in the moment and say, no to taking it on. See ourselves as being powerful, see ourselves as having armor and being able to neutralize or deflect that negativity. And it's really as simple as that, because it's that processing mechanism that doesn't always develop right away. But when we invite awareness in and we're not reacting immediately to these, we can take a pause, understand that that's not about us, and respond quite differently. It keeps our energy at a higher level. And very often that permeates to those around us and can actually help to neutralize a conversation. Have you ever had an argument, tried to have an argument with somebody who just refuses to argue? That's the same sort of energy. You just say no to taking it on. And I know some of us are hypersensitive to energy, and we kind of feel like, oh, it's just a given that we're going to take it on, so we avoid people or we avoid parties and things. I was agoraphobic for a very long time because I was so disempowered within myself and feeling so depleted within myself that it was, to me, it was my story that, I was going to take all this on, and I didn't realize that just simply wasn't true. We can create sort of a bubble around ourselves. I call it the bubble method, where sometimes, as an aid, I imagine a bubble around me, and I can control the things that come in and what stays on the outside of it. And I think when we start to look at it from this perspective and realize the power that we have in our own lives to kind of dictate the energy that we're willing to take on and that we're not willing to take on. And if someone else is having, a lot of bad luck and ongoing situations where they're always in a negative place, sometimes it helps if they can look at possibly what's going on with them and their narrative. Are they always looking for things to be wrong? Are they always looking for a problem? Because sometimes we look for it. And when it comes to other people kind of coming at us, it's a little like a snake bite. The snake bite isn't the thing that kills us. It's how we metabolize or process the venom. And it's the same thing with other people's negative energies. We can decide to let it go straight away, or we can let that poison into our system and start to take over to where we're pulled down to that energetic level. We're pulled into reacting negatively as well, spreading it to others. And that's something we probably don't want to do because it's draining, and we spread our poison to others that way. So I invite you to think about it from this perspective. Do you have to take on other people's negativity, or are you choosing to take on other people's negativity? Are you choosing a mindset that everything is going to be negative? Are you focused on looking for the negative? Because if you are focused on it, you will find it. The things that you give your attention to and focus on grow. Or are you standing in a space of awareness? Are you standing in a space of the power that I know you have? And are you staying the narrator of your own story, not making assumptions, not taking things personally, but standing in your power to say yes and no to the things that you want in your life? There will always be negative things that come up. But the amount of suffering, the amount of poison is going to be up to you and how you process it and the level of awareness that you bring to the situation. A lot of us are conditioned to run around looking for the negative and assuming the worst. With that being said, I have a poem that I want to share with you and see if this resonates with you. This is a beautiful poem by Valerie Cox, and it's called The Cookie Thief. And I'm going to put my glasses on because I'm not going to pretend like I can't see. Okay. The Cookie Thief. A woman was waiting at an airport one night with several long hours before her flight. She hunted for a book in the airport shops, bought a bag of cookies, and found a place to drop. She was engrossed in her book, but happened to see the man sitting beside her, as bold as could be, grabbed a cookie or two from the bag in between, which she tried to ignore to avoid a scene. So she munched the cookies and watched the clock as the gutsy cookie thief diminished her stock. She was getting more irritated as the moments ticked by, thinking, if I wasn't so nice, I would blacken his eye. With each cookie she took, he took one too. When only one was left, she wondered what he would do. With a smile on his face and a nervous laugh, he took the last cookie and he broke it in half. He offered her half as he ate the other. She snatched it from him and thought, oh, brother, this guy has some nerve, and he's also rude. He didn't even show any gratitude. She'd never known when she had been so galled, and sighed with relief when her flight was called. She gathered her belongings and she headed to the gate, refusing to look back at that thieving ingrate. She boarded the plane and sank in her seat. Then she sought her book, which was almost complete. As she reached in her bag, she gasped with surprise. There was her bag of cookies in front of her eyes. If mine are here, she moaned in despair, the others was his, and he tried to share. Too late to apologize, she realized with grief that she was the rude one, the ingrate, the thief. And I love this poem because it shows how we make kind of assumptions in situations when we're functioning from a negative mindset, that we look for things to be wrong in situations, we look for the negative in people. We're focused kind of on, what's going to happen next instead of being in our awareness or being of more positive mindset, which really creates this energy leak for us. It's a leak that depletes our energy, it spreads our poison and negativity to others. And as we learn to neutralize our own and process our own, it begins to create peace and power in our lives. And that's why I want to invite you to take this perspective that you have the power to say yes and no, to neutralize the negativity. You don't have to take it on. Don't take it personally. Don't make assumptions and create a story around it. Don't feed it. Don't let that poison into your system and let it spread. Be in awareness that life is working for you. Be in awareness that you're connected to something greater. And most of all, be aware that you are enough. That the subjugation and conditioning in life is something you can unlearn, and you can 100% take back your power. Control your yes or your no, and be the master of your life through self-mastery. I hope you enjoyed this time together, and I appreciate you watching or listening this far. As always, I have to do the shameless plug that if you've enjoyed this, please share, like, or subscribe. If you're wanting to do more work in awareness and conscious living, I do have clarity sessions available, as well as free workshops, paid workshops. And you can find a lot of free information on my Substack at Rhenae Lauren, Authentically Clear. And I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day.